The Honourable Minister of Finance, Honourable Minister is present here, the Minister of Finance officials, led by the PSST, the family, fellow mourners. This man, first of all, never informed me that I was going to give a speech. I was meant to give my speech at a much bigger function, not this small one. I thought I would speak at Kororo, but now he has made me, he has scripted my words down there. So since he has intrigued me, let me just give my speech, what I had in mind. Of course, everybody here knows how myself and Mr. Muhakanizi, how close we were. To me, he was a boss whom I never called a boss. It was not even for one single day did I ever call him Mr. Muhakanizi. And he actually knew that. I would just call him Keith, and he was comfortable. He was definitely my elder brother, and he was a friend. Many people have spoken a lot of things about Mr. Muhakanizi, about Keith. Let me stick to Keith, not Mr. Muhakanizi, as I say. I've spoken a lot about him. Personally, I met him for the first time in 1985. 1985. I had gone, I was in my senior 4 vacation, waiting to join senior 5 at entire school, and I had come to visit my brother at Mugoroli. My brother called Francis Biaruhanga. So one evening, some gentleman comes to visit him. If for many of you who live those days, you remember people used to come unannounced in homes. They would just come, have a chat. They would come, have a drink, have tea or anything. Of course, in these days, it's no longer happening. So I think it was one of those impromptu visits that Keith had come to check on Francis. Of course, over time, when I asked him, because eventually we talked, I asked him that, but seriously, what was the major reason why you had come to visit Francis? Because Francis was one of the few people who had a black and white TV. So actually, Keith confessed that his major reason for coming was not for chatting or having a cup of tea, but to watch TV. Because actually many people never had TVs. And my other elder brother, Mr. Benkav, you can testify to this, because that time I don't think he had a TV as well. Because I knew all the apartments, his and the one of Mr. Muhakanizi. So as part of that visit, that's when I was informed that, of course, I was introduced as a young man to Keith, and I was told this man is called Kenneth Mugambe. He's an economist. So, of course, hearing that, title of an economist, intrigued me. So I wanted to understand, what does an economist do? Remember, I had just finished senior 4. So they told me, my brother told me, he said, an economist is a very important person. He said, this man is actually in charge of economic planning and economic development for the country. So from that day, that thing actually stuck into my mind. So actually when I reflected over time backwards, I actually discovered that the major reason why I eventually became an economist was because of that meeting, Kenneth Mugambe, in 1985. Because as it were, I went ahead and became an economist. Because he was the first economist I had actually met. And it definitely influenced, my career choice, and I became an economist. So after 1985, that meeting, of course, I went back, as I said, went back to high school, finished senior 6, went to Makerere. Now, when I finished Makerere, I started interviews to join. Of course, now I had done a degree in economics. And the only major place where you could actually get a job was the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development. So I applied, sat interviews, and got a job as an economist. So on the first day of reporting, my father was in Mugambe. Of course, that time he He was still very young, now he's 90 years old, but still reasonably okay. He came from Banana, so came to Kampala, and then we asked him, what has brought you? He said, I want to take you on your day of reporting at work. He actually, even to make it even more serious, of course I didn't know the dress code of civil servants. He came with a suit. He said, you have now become an officer, you must wear a suit. So he gave me a suit. So we moved from Bugorobi to Uganda House. So I said, but you know people in Uganda House, where are you taking me? He said, you wait. He said, I have a friend called Kenneth Mugambe. Now this was 1992. So Mzee carried me, took me to Kenneth Mugambe in the Uganda House. So of course they chatted. Then he told Kenneth, he said, Kenneth, I have brought your young brother here, deploy him. And as you know, Kenneth, what he did, of course, first of all, you know he's always busy. And he doesn't have time. All his things are supposed to be summarized. So what he did, he held my hand, said, you, come. So he took me to the personnel officer. Of course, I don't remember which one it was. And he said, personnel, deploy this young man and put him in one of the best departments. So Kenneth left. Now, as soon as Kenneth left, the personnel officer looked at me. So he gave me a letter of deployment. Me, I actually thought he had deployed me in one of the departments in the ministry, as Mr. Muhakanizi had said. So when I read the letter of deployment, I thought she had actually deployed me in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So you can imagine the contradiction. So you want to pursue a career as an economist, this person is sending you to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Foreign Affairs that time actually used to be in the parliament. This type of I think they were sharing in the president's office. So I carried my letter, went to Foreign Affairs. Reached, the guy in Foreign Affairs looked at the letter, he said, but you man, are you serious? You know, you are just a young man, you don't know what's going on. I said, what? He said, this is Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He said, our former cadre are foreign service officers. We don't have work for economists here. So can they go back to the person who sent you? So now I picked my letter, went back to Uganda House. Now, of course, you can imagine, as I was going back to Uganda House, in my mind I was saying, now, the way I have seen Mr. Muhakanizi, this man who is so busy, should I go back to him, to bother him? Or should I? So already, the personnel officer has disappointed me. But in between, I made up my mind. I said, you know what? Let me go to the personnel officer, and fate will have, my fate will be determined by the personnel officer. And of course, at that stage, she had no choice but to deploy me in one of the departments in the Ministry of Planning, which was one of the sectoral planning departments. So she deployed me in the sectoral planning department. Now, that was 1992. I never saw, or at least interacted with the person they had said should mentor me until 1998. Because remember, when my father took me, he said, this man is going to mentor you. He's going to be the one to look after you. So every time I would try to go to Mr. Muhakanizi's office, he's busy, he's out going out of office. And of course, as a young officer, so somehow I also tried to give him peace. Now, an opportunity came in 1998. Now, in 1998, for those of you who were here, they were restructured in government, and particularly they were merging the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Planning. Now, as part of that merger, we were required to sit interviews as people who were in planning coming to join the merging ministry. And I think even the finance people were sitting interviews. I remember for the technical purpose, they were chaired by Mr. Museveni. So I was a senior economist, so we sat interviews. And as luck would have it, I came out with an accelerated promotion. So from senior economist, I became an assistant commissioner. And probably at that time, that's when Mr. Muhakanizi remembered that, oh, there's this boy now in 1992. So from 1998 until probably the time I left Ministry of Finance, of course me and him almost left at the same time, we have been extremely close. So I really don't want to take a lot of time, but people know that in this building, many of the attributes of Keith have been talked about. How he spearheaded all these reforms we are talking about. All the reforms, I don't think there's any one single reform in the area of economic and financial management that Keith was not part of. Whether it was the IFMS, the Integrated Financial Management System of Accountants General, whether it was the budget reforms. And one of the key things that he did, he gave us an opportunity. He would always give us an opportunity to innovate. As long as you know what you are doing as an officer, as long as you know what you are doing as an officer, Mr. Muhakanizi would allow you to do the innovation. I remember there is a time when I was doing the program budgeting reform. And the program budgeting reform confused many people. There is a time I went to cabinet, and I think at the end of the day we regretted why we had gone to cabinet. Because actually, it seems like people got more confused when we didn't understand the reform. And we thought maybe we should not have gone. So I was struggling to explain to him what the essence of program budgeting is. So one day he said, after bothering him for a long time, he said, Kenneth, stop wasting my time on your reforms. As long as you know what you are doing, you go and reform. However, if you make a mistake, I will definitely hang you. And that is exactly the kind of empowerment that Keith gave us. Empowerment is actually somebody who's able and willing to delegate, authority. Okay? I think it challenges you when you are doing something. Because, for example, whenever I would be, drafting, I would draft a lot of letters, for Keith. But he had given me that kind of trust and authority that whenever I would take a letter to him, actually he would first sign the letter and read it after he has signed it. And of course, as you know his speed, even reading it, he would not read it and finish it. But of course, he would do that because he understands that given that he has entrusted a lot in you, even you as a person, okay, you as a person, you take a lot of time. In fact, many times, I would find mistakes in the letters I'm signing myself, which I have drafted for myself, than the letters I have drafted for kids. Because I know once he has actually given me the responsibility to draft for him a letter, he would give it to me 100%. And he would actually not expect any mistake. What I would do, I would just make sure that I do the letter to the best of my ability. So he really empowered us, and everybody knows. I was telling my wife at home that Keith wanted finance officials, and I think that's why some people would talk of him being arrogant. He said, as a finance person, you must be confident. If you go to a ministry, if you represent the Ministry of Finance in any meeting, I expect you to be confident and be sure of what you are talking about. And of course, that came out of the fact that they had invested a lot in training many of us. Most of the people you see around the Ministry of Finance have been trained in practically the best universities in the world. Many of us went to Harvard, we went to Yale, we went to London School of Economics. So he had done that kind of capacity building. And that's why he expected, once he sends a Minister of Finance official to an institution to represent the Minister of Finance, he would expect you